So I want to talk about the bottomless pit. Yes, I do, from the Bible. So if you don't believe in the biblical God, just move on. No reason to waste your time. Because I had a couple of things happen to me. I'm not a clairvoyant. I'm not an intuitive. I'm no prophet. I'm none of that stuff. I'm not. But I have had a few things happen to me. And I've talked about them before. One being the whole 11:11 that went on every day, like all day. Like not all day, but 3 or 4 times a day from 2018 to fall of 2020, okay? So, and that was more me putting these pieces together. It was strange. But I've talked about that on my YouTube channel, and I think I've talked about it on TikTok. Now, there was something else that happened to me in 2009. End of 2008, beginning of 2009. Really, probably January 2009. I was in nursing school, and I was with my sister, just watching TV or something, and I don't have visions. I don't have any of that. I mean, let me just say this. I've walked with God. I get on my knees every day and ask for help because God's kept me sober for over 25 years. And so by the grace of God, otherwise I would be dead. That's the spiritual malady for addiction. The problem is the spiritual malady. Think of a bucket with a big hole in it. You take a liquor and just keep trying to fill it. Keep trying to fill this bucket that's never going to fill because you're not using the right source, and the right thing to use is God. And so that was the only thing that helped. And so I make it a point to, as it says in one of the steps, to keep a continuous conscious contact with God. Praying every morning. And yes, there's times I forget, and I go out, I forget many days in a row or even weeks. And believe me, I notice it right away, and then I'm like, God, sorry. But normally for the past 25 years, I've stuck to that because it saved my life. And it not just saved my life, it transforms you. The Bible talks about we have that heart of stone. And when God talks about circumcising, what he means is circumcising the heart, removing the heart of stone that we tend to get in this place because everybody has traumas, some worse than others. So that heart of stone is what many people have. And when you start walking with Jesus, then he replaces that heart with the heart of flesh. So then it changes you. So long before I was a nurse, had been sober a long time, walking with God. And so in 2009, I don't want to say it was a vision because it wasn't exactly. I was wide awake, wasn't sleeping, wasn't a dream. But I saw this window, like a window, it was going up really slowly. And then bam, it slammed down really hard to where it startled me. And I was fully awake. My sister was there. She could attest to it. I was as white as a ghost. Because I was like, what happened? This stuff doesn't happen to me. What is this? What's going on? And I've never had anything like that again, except for the whole 11:11 thing. But that was actually always just happening to see 11:11 in an address. And it was just strange. It was happening every single day without fail. But with this, it was a slow going up of like a window, but it wasn't a window. It's just the only way I can describe it. And then a slamming down so hard that it was like the earth shook, but the earth didn't shake. But what preceded that was worse because something happened to mankind. I know. See, you're going to walk away saying she's crazy. But no, something happened. There was this coldness that came over everyone, and they didn't know it. It was like there was this darkness. And then what happened after that for about a month to me, and here I am trying to get through nursing school, and I had no deaths or anything. There was nothing major that would have caused this. But there was this deep mourning, this deep emptiness of mourning that was so horribly like, it was like the death of humanity. That's what it felt like. And it was so, I was the worst feeling in the world. I can't even describe it. And I would just cry out of nowhere. But I mean, not just cry. It was like just sobbing. And there was nothing I had to be sobbing over. Nothing. And so that went on. I worked my way through that. I'm trying to go through nursing school, but I noticed that there was this change in people. I mean, people I knew, people in family. I mean, everyone. Nobody knew it. The only people it didn't happen to was children. But there was this coldness that kind of just came over everything. Came over people most especially. And I think that's what I was mourning. Like there was the innocence of the only place you could see innocence was in children. Everyone else just had this coldness and sort of it was just a barrier. It's just odd. I can't describe it. And so that lasted for about a month, and then I went on and I saw all these unethical things in healthcare, and I've had horrible things happen to me that were totally unethical and really outright illegal that I've had, in my very early nursing job. I've talked about it. I'm not going to get into it, but I've talked about it in videos. But just really some horrible experiences. And it's like, and learning that when you do the right thing, you're going to get targeted. Like, I think I kind of get it why people tend to be like, I just look the other way, because it just goes without saying in this world that when you do the right thing, you tend to get targeted. That's been my experience. So if you speak up. So I had that happen, and then I realized that that was very much like what the Bible talks about with the bottomless pit. That window, and slamming down, like the opening. The Bible talks about the opening of the bottomless pit and the releasing of the beast. And people have this idea that Revelations would play out like exactly as it. No, it's a lot of it is metaphor. It is. Because it's deceptive. Remember. And then I realized tonight, thinking back on that, because for many years I hadn't thought about it, but I'd never forgotten it. But I realized it was 2009, beginning of January 2009. Obama was being inaugurated. Obama was not a legit president. He was not born in this country, so you're not allowed to be a president. So his entire administration is actually void, in my opinion. But it's true. If you're that's why if you're a hater of, you want to believe in the wonder and amazement of Obama, because there were so many, and he's so wonderful and he's so great. That's all I would see about him. And I'm like, what is so wonderful and great about him? I didn't follow his presidency. I didn't support him. But here's the thing. I remember him speaking at John Kerry's convention when Kerry was running against Bush Jr. for Bush's second term. And I live in Illinois, and I hadn't even heard of him. And he got up to speak, and my friend from grade school was with me. I still talk to her, to this day. And I said to her, when he started speaking, I'm like, oh, because he's a smooth talker, Obama, boy, oh boy. But it was almost a scary smooth talker. And I said, he will run in the next election, which he did. I said, he will win, which he did. And I jokingly had said he'll be the beast, which he really has, because it is Obama. And I'm not saying literally, we don't know, right? But given some of the things he's done, many of the things he's done, right before Trump came into office, he signed us over to a de facto constitution with the United Nations. It's on the Federal Register if you don't believe that. He did. He signed away America's sovereignty over to the United Nations. Six months before Trump came into office. So when people want to say Trump was the trumpet call. So there's a reason why you get such a reaction with him, because you're supposed to. If you're a hater and want to stay in hate, then you're not getting the right trumpet wake-up call. Because it's talked about the trumpets, right? Trump is a trumpet, a call, wake you up to see what's going on around you. It's a lot. There's something much bigger going on. This is a spiritual war. So some things may not make sense that people do. But truly, if you think about it from the biblical standpoint, and what Obama did, being not a legit president, signing us over to the UN, it's on the Federal Registry, then what that should tell you is, how would God see that? God would see that, as he talks about in the Bible, as the son of perdition.